It's like you sat there, aren't you, just watching the sort of afternoon movie in the office and looking at things and thinking, oh, wow, that was a good film, you know? And then you see a name come up, and at the bottom of the credits, you kind of think, who was that guy? And this is what I like about our channel, you know, Chums, etc., because I know when I say this guy's name, somebody out there will know or have a memory or indeed recall his many broadcasts. You see, this particular movie was made way back in 1950. And as I say, at the end of the credits, it said, and the American correspondent was Merrill Mueller, I believe is the correct way of pronouncing his name, for NBC. Now, as a man who also works for NBC, I thought, who is this guy? And as ever, I thought I'd share it with you. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here. Nice to have your company. And truly, it's just a very quick sort of memory lane thing. I mean, I've also said this is for people who live in America, but he did report on world events for many years, including the big story regarding Adolf Hitler and Poland, which many people will recall. Not only that, way back in 1965, 58 years ago, he reported here from London, of which he was the London bureau chief for 4 years for NBC, on the state funeral of the then Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Winston Churchill. So this was a man who truly was at the top of his game. Fascinating though, but he did so much more. Merrill appeared in the movie 7 Days to Noon, and production began in July 1949 with the cooperation of the War Office and the police. Location filming took place in London over several weeks, including Westminster Bridge, Lambeth Grove, Trafalgar Square Underground Station, and yes, technology was even back then. Walkie-talkies were used to help control traffic on the bridge. For the film, Gilbert Taylor was allegedly influenced by the photography of the naked city. Now, after the war, Mueller was directed as NBC's London bureau for 4 years before returning to America in 1952. There he covered the presidential desk for NBC, as well as producing a number of radio and TV programs. During Alan Shepard's historic Freedom 7 mission on May the 5th, 1961, Mueller was again the broadcaster, and after famously reporting he looked so lonely up there, he fell silent for the very first time in his career. Even after returning to the United States, Mueller was covered in international events. He retired in 1968 and sadly lost him 10 years later. But the thing really I wanted to share was the fact that I often say here on the show, it's nice to remember people who were so vibrant in so many people's lives after so many years, a voice, a vision that many people will have heard and watched, bringing them the big events in the news at that particular period. Were you one of them? Do you remember him? And of course, that wasn't the only movie that he appeared in. But it's nice to see something, look at someone and think, wow, everything went on long before we were all here. As ever, let me know what you think to this particular story, any memories in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.